Johnny Gaudreau and Calgary have been interesting. In fact, it's not even just Johnny Gaudreau and Calgary, it's Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk and Calgary, because when you take a look at the regular season and you see how well the two stars of Calgary have played, you say, darn, 100 points each. Boy, oh boy, these guys are going to get paid, these guys are going to deserve the money because they produce a heck of a lot of points, and Calgary being so good, so defensively sound, so deep, and so strong in net, they're going to go out there and they're going to have themselves a run. Now, I can't say I'm emotional about this because the only real emotional investment I have in the Calgary Flames is the fact that I picked them to win the cup in my bracket, and I'm a big fan of Toffoli, Tanev, and Markstrom. Aside from that, I don't really care. But when it comes to what we're seeing from Calgary and Dallas, it's really strange. We made a video already talking about how strange that series has been from a defensive on-ice point of view. The fact that in 2 games, we only saw 3 goals. Well, spoiler alert, we had a few more goals in Game 3 yesterday, but the result that you probably would have expected is the one that we did not get. Dallas won 4-2 yesterday, and now they have a 2-1 series lead. The Calgary Flames are on the brink of sort of starting the panic. I don't really think it's time to do that full-fledged just yet. All the Flames have to do is win 3 of their next 4 games, and then they're going off to the second round. Not the easiest thing to do, but 3 out of 4 has been done before, and the Calgary Flames do have at least one more loss they can have before really saying goodbye to the year. That's not what I wanted to talk about, though, in this video. I wanted to talk about Johnny Gaudreau, and I wanted to talk about Matthew Tkachuk, because both of these guys, as 100-point scorers in the NHL regular season, have been playing in such a way that I think you could say they're not really the same anymore. Johnny Gaudreau had himself 5 shots in last night's game. He had an assist as well. He had a whole bunch of scoring opportunities. He even had a breakaway towards the end of the third. But Johnny Gaudreau has not had that clutch it factor to put points up on the board consistently as a 100-point player does. Unfortunate for me to say, yeah, do I want to say that? No, of course I don't want to say that. I like 100-point players. I want to see 100-point players go out there and do 100-point player things in the playoffs. But Johnny Gaudreau has not done that so far. I know he has points. He's got 2 in the 3 games they've played, but when you have guys not stepping up throughout the rest of your lineup, you rely on your top guys to get that scoring done for you. And it's unfortunate, but Johnny Gaudreau has not done that to the capacity that I think a lot of Flames fans would have wanted or expected. You just need to see a little bit more out of Johnny. And the fact that you're going to have to pay this guy money after this after this season is over to stick around or go somewhere else, it's making this entire conversation as to what happens in the playoffs a lot more difficult to stomach, because you know how good this team was supposed to be. It's not just that the Flames are down 2-1, it's that they're down 2-1 to the Stars. Dallas, man, I'm saying the Flames can go out there and win 3 out of 4 because I've seen teams go out there and beat Dallas 3 out of 4 times. Vancouver did it, for crying out loud. What more for Calgary, who's a lot better than Vancouver and who was above Vancouver in the standings? Dallas is just playing the perfect game against Calgary right now, and it's working. We've seen Rick Bowness and the things going on behind Rick Bowness in Dallas, and how it's actually been paying off for what it is they want to accomplish. They're controlling the play, they're getting rebounds, they're scoring goals, they're winning games. And they need to win 2 more games in the next 4 to advance to the second round. Meanwhile, you have yourselves Matthew Tkachuk, a guy who also scored at a 100-point pace. He had 100 points, and he's very good. He's a very skilled, offensively talented player who in the playoffs is not really playing like a skilled, offensively talented player. I say this with the utmost respect. I do appreciate the way Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk and Keith Tkachuk play the game. When you have a physical edge, it does something psychologically to your opponents, and it gives you the advantage. But so far throughout these games, with the early fights and the chip-ins on the boards and the hits and all that, it doesn't really feel like, to me, Matthew Tkachuk is making the best impact that he could be making. He's going out there trying to fight guys and remove himself for 5 minutes of time on ice per game, rather than just doing what it was that made him successful in the regular season, getting 100 points. This guy also needs a contract, and it's going to be difficult to try to say, okay, where the heck are we going to settle for a dollar amount because he had 100 points, but in the playoffs, I know he's got 2 points in 3 games as well, they're all assists, but the guy's got 12 penalty minutes too. He's busy taking himself out of the game rather than doing what it is that this team needs more of right now, which is scoring more points. This is what they did in the last series, is it not? Dallas Stars just going out there, getting under Tkachuk's skin, goading the guy into getting into fights, removing him for 5 minutes of time on ice per fight. Like, I know there is a benefit to being able to get that edge over your opponent, but when you're not playing, when you, a 100-point player, is being removed from the game for a certain amount of time, that helps out the opponent too. And so, for Matthew Tkachuk, I think, obviously I don't want to be the guy, oh, play like this, do that, but like, to me it feels more important that he goes out there and does 100-point player things rather than 80-plus penalty minute player things. I know he didn't have 80-plus penalty minutes. His career high is 105 in 2016-17, but like, in the playoffs, it feels like Matthew Tkachuk is going back to being that penalty minute racking, fighting, hitting guy. And so I have to ask the question, is that what the Flames really need right now? Is that what the Stars need instead? I don't know about you, but if I was Rick Bowness, I would be fine sacrificing John Klingberg for 5 minutes for Matthew Tkachuk, because that guy is pretty gosh darn important when it comes to the Calgary Flames scoring goals. And so, now with the Flames and them being down 2-1, as we said, they need to win 3 out of the next 4 to advance to the second round. It's not impossible, certainly isn't. It's just the way this team has been playing. I've never seen Flames fans get so salty and upset at their own team because the expectations were sky high. You guys played so well in the regular season. Now you only have a few certain players showing up to play. The middle 6 of the offense is not really doing all too much. You could say that Hanifin and Anderson are circling back in their own zone too much, not really playing with the same confidence that they had in the regular season. It's more of a, okay, I just hope I don't make a mistake kind of game. Now, maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I'm not giving credit where credit is due. Dallas has just been playing a system that's worked so well, and that's why they have a 2-1 series lead. But if my gosh darn Stanley Cup prediction winners are going to go out there in the first round, I better not see Dallas go out there in the second round either, and then Edmonton lose to Colorado in the third round, and then Colorado lose to whichever Eastern team makes it out in the finals in the fourth round. If that happens, then Calgary is like legitimately the worst team in the playoffs, because you lose to the team that loses to the team that loses to the team that loses to the team that wins the cup. We always do this, right? This is a thing where we talk about, okay, who wins the Stanley Cup, but who is the biggest loser? The team that loses to the loser to the loser to the loser to the loser of the cup. Is that right? Did I add too many losers? I don't really know. But like, Calgary, if they lose in this first round series, they have a realistic opportunity of being that team. Assuming Dallas loses to Edmonton, Edmonton loses to Colorado, and Colorado loses to whichever other team is there in the final. So like, from first to worst, eh? Calgary, you have some things to figure out, and you have some tough decisions to make too. If this continues on for Games 4, Games 5, and Game 6, assuming you win one and you maybe lose the others, and Johnny Gaudreau and Tkachuk don't go out there and producing the points that you wanted to produce, where do you go with these players? How much do you offer them? Because the amount of money they're getting right now is not really fair for a 100-point player, but is it fair for a player that plays the way these guys do in the playoffs? I'm not really too sure. Flames fans, let me know in the comments all your thoughts about your Game 3, how exactly things have gone down. Do you blame anybody else? I'm talking about Tkachuk and Gaudreau in this video. You could talk about Toffoli, you could talk about Mangiapane, you could talk about Backlund, you could talk about a lot of other players that are on the Calgary Flames that are getting, or not getting, offense done. Blake Coleman, Calle Yarncrow, Backlund, how are you feeling about this team? And how do you feel about the Dallas Stars having this lead? I feel very disingenuously upset because I'm like, yeah, no, I wanted the Flames to win the cup because I had them in my bracket winning the cup. But Dallas, I mean, underdog story? Yeah, sure. A team that's defeatable, though? I would say so as well. So, let me know in the comments all your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. And sorry for no graphics in the background. We didn't really need it for this video. This is more just a commentary carried by the story of what's going on outside. So, I think everybody kind of understands that. And bye.